Hey, what's up, everybody? Giovanna back again for another ghetto video. And today, I'm going to be talking about the Release the Abrams Cut rumors. I'm also a supporter of Release the Abrams Cut, even though, listen, it's all rumors, and all this stuff is rumors, but it does sound like it makes sense. Now, someone actually put a tweet on Twitter before I get started the video saying, "We were all screwed out of a good story because the profits of Disney shareholders completely overrode the independence of filmmakers and the creative process. And if that's not a reflection of the sorry state of the film industry right now, I don't know what is. Hashtag release the Abrams cut." Couldn't agree with this person more. Amen. Let's get started with the video. So, we got it on all the subreddit, subreddit, Jesus, saltier than crate. Here's what I've been told from a source that worked on The Rise of Skywalker. And this is very long, by the way. So if you want to look at this yourself, check out the subreddit saltier than crate, because this is going to be a really long video. Since shortly after release weekend, I've been corresponding with someone who worked closely on the production of The Rise of Skywalker and works for one of the major companies I cannot disclose here. I have verified the source to my satisfaction. To protect the source, I am rewording what we spoke about over the last 2 weeks, and I'm submitting it to you in bullet point format I have written based on what they told me. The TLDR is that they were upset with the final product of The Rise of Skywalker and wanted to share their perspective on how it went down and where it went wrong. The leakers for The Rise of Skywalker had an agenda and are tied to Disney directly. My source confessed that they have an agenda as well in that they struggle with ignoring what's been happening to someone who they think doesn't deserve it. Honestly, I'm not surprised that these leakers are connected to Disney, because I tweeted out a while ago, one of my burning questions about The Rise of Skywalker is how the hell did they let almost this whole movie release? I do not understand that. Like, they had all these leaks coming out on premiere night. I was like, that was literally insane. And I was speculating with someone else on Twitter. We were thinking that it was just fake, like a fake cut of the movie that was purposely released by Disney. So I guess the purposely leaked by Disney part is somewhat true, or is rumored here. JJ has always treated everyone on and offset with respect, so my source's agenda is that what Disney has done to JJ and how much they screwed him over should be something that people are at least aware of, whether you like him as a filmmaker or not. And I'm really unpopular with this opinion, but I do believe JJ should have got this whole trilogy. I do not think JJ is a hack, because I know a lot of people are like, oh yeah, JJ and Rian Johnson are the hacks that ruined Star Wars or whatever. JJ is nowhere near as bad as Rian Johnson. JJ is more of a passive, kind of fan service, I guess you could say, nostalgic, kind of that playbook. But he's a gentleman compared to Rian Johnson. The shit Rian Johnson has said online. Rian Johnson deliberately wanting to split the fan base. Yeah, just all that stuff. Disney was one of the studios wherein the Bad Robot bidding war, Disney was one of the studios who were in that Bad Robot bidding war last year. Disney never had much interest in Bad Robot as a company, but they did in JJ because they saw Warner Brothers, who went with JJ in the end, as a major threat. JJ is very successful at bringing franchises back like Mission Impossible, Star Trek, and Star Wars. Warner Brothers is struggling with DC, and aside from Wonder Woman, DC is still seen as a bit of a joke in its current state by general audiences. Yeah, which is very true. Warner Brothers wants Abrams for some DC projects. I don't think this is even a rumor. I'm pretty sure if it is a rumor, it's been floating out there really prominently for a while that JJ was going to be working on, I believe, a Superman movie of some sort. My source said that this generation Star Wars is the MCU, and Marvel's biggest threat is a well-operational DC. They want to keep DC in the limbo that they're in right now. Abrams jumpstarting that franchise with something like a successful, audience-pleasing Superman movie makes them nervous. Their goal is to make JJ look bad to potential investors and shareholders. Now, my little theory on that is that with these critic reviews for The Rise of Skywalker, maybe, you know how there was these rumors and speculation that Disney is paying, or Disney is telling, critics to give good reviews on their Star Wars movies. Now, you see Rise of Skywalker, the critics gave it, what, is that a 57% right now on Rotten Tomatoes? So maybe they're just doing that to make JJ look bad. And don't get me wrong, The Rise of Skywalker is not a good movie, cinematically. Sure, it has the visuals, but the pacing and the plot aren't really good in, the cinema, world, if that makes sense. But yeah, I'm not going to keep going on. This is already long enough. My source mentioned this shortly after the premiere. The Rise of Skywalker we saw last night was not the Rise of Skywalker we thought we worked on. T. JJ was devastated and blindsided by this. He's been feeling down over the last 6 months because of some of the ridiculous demands Disney had that changed his movie story. Yeah, you get that point. While the scenes were shot, a lot of changes were made in post-production and the audio was re-recorded and altered. My source said they've never seen anything like this happen before. He's the director and he wasn't even in the know about what they were doing behind his back. Yeah, that's just terrible. Apparently, JJ felt threatened over the month leading up to the premiere. And I'm not surprised. Going back to like this little paragraph right here, JJ did seem upset at the Rise of Skywalker premiere. Even with, like, when he was asked about Reylo, he was basically saying it wasn't romantic. He was basically insinuating that it was just put in there because it was put in there for, like, fan service or something. I don't know. Ryan was never meant to do 9, despite some of the rumors that he was. Yeah, thank God. JJ was brought back by Iger, not Kathleen Kennedy. Disney insisted on more fan service, less controversy. JJ's original agreement when he signed on was indicating he would have way more creative control than he did on The Force Awakens. It became evident this wasn't the case only a couple weeks into shooting when the trouble with meddling started. Now, I saw Ryan Kindle's video on this, RK Outpost. Go check out Ryan, great guy. He did a great video on this as well. He compared this to Zack Snyder's situation with Justice League and released the Snyder Cut and everything. So you'll see, I'm not going to mention it every time, but you'll see like a good amount of parallels between JJ's situation and Zack Snyder's situation. JJ wanted to do some scenes he thought were important, but Disney shut it down, citing budgetary reasons. Disney, you have all the money in the world. You are an entertainment empire. May 2019, JJ argued that those scenes were crucial. He had to let go of one of the scenes. The other scene he insisted on was approved at first. He did reshoots and additional photography in July. The new scene was shot at Bad Robot in October. You know, this is also all these reshoots and stuff pop up sometimes in here. Definitely, like some of the stuff we were. Oh, what was I thinking? The cuts, all the different cuts. The Lucas cut, the Abrams cut, the Disney cut. You know, all the Doomcock stuff. The ending that will blow your mind was part of this. Older actors were included like Hayden, Ewan, and Samuel, and anyone who wasn't animated. The Force Ghosts weren't meant to be voices because they shot that footage on camera. The actors were in costumes. Rey was supposed to be surrounded by the Force Ghosts to serve as sort of a barrier between her and the Sith surrounding them. Honestly, I think that would have been pretty cool. I love Hayden Christensen, that's why. No, I'm just kidding. My source thinks, but can't 100% confirm that this is because of China. Oh yeah, Ryan also said this in his video, but I'm going to say it again. China does not like ghosts. So that could have been one of the issues why with the Force Ghost thing. But then again, this is all just another Disney cash grab bullshit. It's an office talk of sorts. Some VFX people claim they got a list of approved shades of blue they could use on the Luke Force Ghost. Cutting this out was when the bad blood turned into a nightmare for JJ because the movie he was making was suddenly unrecognizable to him in almost every way. My source knows JJ well enough to know that he's not the yelling type. Well, yeah, that's also true because JJ is like a passive, you know, as I said before, passive. He's quiet, really like respectful dude. But apparently in a meeting, he yelled something along the lines of, "Why don't you just put directed and written by Lucasfilm then?" My source wasn't present for that exchange, but knows some who were. Disney demanded they shoot some scenes that would have things in it for merchandise. They Fly Now is one of them. It's also JJ's least favorite scene. At a November screening of a 2-hour and 37-minute cut, he cringed, groaned, and laughed when the scene was on. My source says that JJ was most likely not joking when he said "you're right" in the interview where they asked him about the Rise of Skywalker criticism. JJ's original early November cut was 3 hours and 2 minutes long, so pretty much as long as Endgame. And I remember, this is also another, I know I said I wouldn't bring it up, but it's also kind of another thing that's a parallel with the Snyder Cut. There was a rumor that the Rise of Skywalker was actually going to be 4 hours long, which I don't really believe that all entirely, but 3 hours, 2 minutes is definitely more believable. Then you have, with the Snyder Cut, there was a rumor that it was like 5 hours long, probably because it's unedited, but I don't know, crazy shit. In January, JJ suggested that they turn this into 2 films. My source told me this well before Terrio mentioned it in an interview a couple of days ago. When Disney said no, JJ was content with making this 3 hours long. Over a period of 9 months, JJ started to realize that one by one, his ideas and whole scenes were being thrown out the window or entirely altered by people who have, quote-unquote, no business meddling with the creatives. They were not on the same page when it came to creative decisions, and it became obvious that Disney had an agenda in addition to wanting to please shareholders. Disney could afford messing up 9 for the sake of the bigger picture when it came to protecting things unrelated to 9. The JJ cut eventually and hesitantly agreed to in early December was 2 hours and 37 minutes long. It wasn't the cut we saw, which he wouldn't have approved of, and which is 2 hours and 22 minutes long. Apart from the Force Ghost, there were other crucial and emotional scenes missing. The cut they released looked chopped and taped back together with weak Scotch tape. Oh God. The movie opened with Rey's training. Her first scene with Rose was shortly after Rey damaged BB-8 during training. Rose made a silly joke about how Poe was going to kill her for damaging BB-8. There was a moment where Rey took a minute to process what just happened when she saw that vision during training. She looked distressed and worried. The next scene was noise as the Falcon was landing and Rey runs over there. Those 2 women who kissed at the end were visible in the shot and they were holding hands. One of them ran towards the Falcon as it landed. Kylo and Mustafar's scene was 2 minutes longer. There was a moment where Kylo seemed a bit dizzy and his vision was shown as blurry for a second, almost as if time has stopped while everyone in the background was slow-mo fighting. Kylo hears Vader's breathing, then shakes his head, and time goes back to moving at a normal pace, and he jumps right back into the battle, the scene from the trailer where he knocks the guy down, which did end up in the movie later. They cut some of the scenes from the Lightspeed skipping segment. Wow, tongue twister a bit. Some of the planets that were cut were Kashyyyk, Naboo, and Kamino. Of course, because nobody gives a shit about the prequels, because Disney is a cash grab. The scene where the TIE fighters are chasing them through the iceberg, those corridors were inspired by a video game JJ used to play in the 90s called Rebel Assault 2, the third level in the game with the tunnels on Endor specifically. Yeah, damn right. That iceberg scene, like on the bottom, on Robot Head's video, he pointed out that it looks like fucking Minecraft. Janna was confirmed to be Lando's daughter. Rey not only healed Kylo's face scar, but she killed Kylo when she healed Ben. Yes! Kylo ceased to exist when Rey healed him. My source mentioned that some people assume it was Han Solo who healed him, but that isn't true and that wasn't Han Solo. That was Leia using her own memories as well as Ben's to create a physical manifestation of his own thoughts to nudge him towards what he needed to do. That was her own way of communicating that with him. And it wasn't possible without her dying in the process. She made the ultimate sacrifice for her son, and this flew over people's heads with the Disney cut. The late November cut, the last cut JJ approved of, had scenes with Rose and Rey still. JJ wanted to give her a more meaningful arc. Disney felt that was too risky too. My source mentioned that Chris Terrio said that it was because of the Leia scenes, but this is only partially true because she had 4 other scenes, including 2 with Rey/Daisy that Leia was not in. Finn wanting to tell Rey something was always meant to be Force sensitivity. In the 3-hour cut, it's explicitly stated. There was a moment where when Janna and him were running on top of that Star Destroyer and Finn needed to unlock or move something and he force moved it and acted surprised when it happened. This was replaced with the CGI BB-8 fixing whatever needed fixed out there. Really? I mean, come on, I would have loved to see Force sensitive Finn. It's something that would have definitely made sense for sure, rather than just leaving it, like, hanging, another question that the audience has. Babu Freak was nearly cut because some execs at Disney thought he would be the new Jar Jar. He had, 2 lines of dialogue in the movie, and he's, a little cute baby thing, so definitely not the new Jar Jar. They're really surprised that people love him this much. He was JJ's idea and was created in collaboration with some artists and puppeteers. The personality was all JJ. There are a bunch of scenes where Rey and Kylo separately went through quiet moments of reflection to deal with what they were going through. On her part, her going through the realization that there's something sinister about her past. Him going through regret and remorse but trying to shut it out. My source said that the Kylo scenes were especially amazing because of Adam's performance and how he managed to portray that inner turmoil. It provided much more context and added deeper meaning to both this battle with Rey and the final redemption arc at the end. It didn't happen so suddenly, and it was more structured than what we got. The Kylo Ren scene where he dies was at least 4 minutes longer with more dialogue. Ben was always supposed to die. Yeah, I'm not surprised. They would have. You see Darth Vader with his sacrifice, and this Disney trilogy is already scrappy remake of the OT, so I don't think that really surprised anyone. Source also added that if he wasn't, then that might have been in an earlier draft which they haven't read. The first draft they read included Lando, the first few didn't. The Reylo kiss and Ben's death were not part of the reshoots. It was a part of the re-editing. Even the cut that JJ thought was coming out earlier this month had a longer version of the scene that was shown in the theatrical cut. JJ was against the Reylo kiss, or Reylo in general. This was Disney's attempt to please both sides of the fandom. And like I said in my Rise of Skywalker review, I said that this was just, the Reylo kiss was just a piece of fan service, and that the Rise of Skywalker in general tried to cater to all points of the fan base. So, yeah. And also, everyone has been speaking out against Reylo. You had John, you had Daisy shut it down in Celebration. Oh, I could go on. JJ was not happy with where The Last Jedi took the story. The final result is a mix of that story and the story told by Disney and whoever they tried to impress, certainly not the fans. JJ is gutted over the final result. Star Wars means a lot to him. He had to sacrifice large chunks of the story in The Force Awakens, but was promised more creative control on The Rise of Skywalker, and instead the leash they had him on was only tightened as time went by. A source said that this is the one franchise and the one piece of his work that he did not want to mess up, and instead, it turned into his worst nightmare. When he found out that he was blindsided with the cut they presented, he said, "What the fuck?" When Kylo was fighting the Knights of Ren at the end, and the Williams music that was used for it was not what he wanted at all. He seemed to think it was out of place. JJ's cut still exists and will always exist. We most likely will never see it unless someone accidentally leaks it. There you have it, blah, blah, blah. And there's also this edit about Finn Poe, if anyone cares. The source asked about Finn Poe after seeing Oscar Isaac's comment about how Disney didn't want it to be a thing. This is true. JJ fought to make this happen. This is why Oscar is blaming Disney. It's not just a random throwaway comment. He knows for a fact that it was Disney because these discussions happened. The main cast is insanely close with JJ and are just as pissed, though seemingly more outspoken about it than JJ. And honestly, that does not surprise me at all, because the cast, when they heard about JJ returning, they all seemed to be really happy about it whenever they were asked about it in interviews. I think, this regarding like all of the stuff we just read, I don't think that it's just J.J. Abrams' problem. I do believe that this sucks for the cast as well. I really feel bad for them. They deserve way better. During The Force Awakens, Disney was hesitant to hire John Boyega because a woman was front and center, so they deemed that risky enough. So bringing in a male lead who's black made them nervous. So is that implying that Disney's racist? But I thought that the Disney shills and everyone else were calling the Phantom Menace racist because we didn't like The Last Jedi. Alright. JJ fought to make that happen for about 9 months before getting approval. The same issue came up when JJ fought to have Finn and Poe in The Rise of Skywalker, but he lost that battle as he lost many creative battles for this film. Many people, JJ included, came to the realization during this production that the story really is told by shareholders and investors instead of the creatives or anyone at Disney specifically. He tried to make a lot of things happen and was shut down because of this. They had him on a leash, and many blamed The Last Jedi for the stricter creative approach. Now, I don't know. I'm going to read some comments if anyone really cares. I'm not signed into Reddit, so I don't know if I could actually read them. Is it not working? Okay, here, we'll just read this one. This is going to go down in history as one of the worst managed franchise trilogies in film ever. It all just reeks of executive meddling, and from what we've been seeing lately, the actor discontent is just the tip of the iceberg. Yep, got that right. This is a long-ass thread. This lines up with both Jedi Paxi's leaks and the other leaker we had a few months ago who told about JJ being overruled on many key decisions in The Force Awakens, such as SKB, I don't know what that is, being added to the plot relatively late. It also lines up with JJ's overall non-hostile and joking demeanor. If you like The Force Awakens, I question your sanity. Looks like Kathleen Kennedy and whoever is behind her are the biggest villains in this after all. Not surprised. Surprised people are realizing that Kathleen Kennedy's just are the emperor. Yeah, I don't really got much that I want to read, but if you guys want to read this, check out Saltier Than Crate. This is one of like the top posts on here. This video is getting long enough. I can't even see how long it is, but I will see you guys in another video. Drop your comments below, and peace out.